we just live tweeted YouTube's streaming of Lionsgate John Wick from 2014. It's the first of, so far, 3 movies following the life of John Wick, an
amazing hitman.
Amazing assassin who single-handedly just brings down an entire empire, it looks like. There was a lot of killing. This is a rated R movie for extreme violence and very naughty language.
Yes, lots of naughty language. But
yeah, they were dropping the F-bombs like 5 times a sentence.
So if you're
this is not a movie for small
yeah,
children.
If you want to shelter your kids from that sort of thing, then do not watch this movie with them. We aren't those kind of parents.
We aren't those kind of parents who just bubble wrap their children.
Yes, we don't.
That's why Olivia watched all 3 John Wick movies.
Yeah, we've actually watched
like
all
7.
So long as we're sitting with the kids and telling them, hey,
this is just a
movie. This is fake. Please do
not
not
repeat
use that
these words.
kind of language. we think we're doing a good job. I mean, these kids, when it comes to like foul language, most of the time they're like, I didn't even hear that.
And plus, with the internet, I'm sure they know more than we ever did at their age. So,
Yep.
We're not. We don't believe in bubble wrapping children as far as that. I mean, we go into every movie, especially stuff like this, where it's a little, maybe not age appropriate, and we always caveat it with, these are stories. This is storytelling.
This was especially true in certain parts of this movie, which is funny because I was the same way when I was a kid. I could watch thousands of people like get killed in the Titanic or blown up and by aliens, but God forbid they killed a dog.
Yes.
That would just make me lose
worst.
my mind.
Yes.
And same holds true for my kids.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice at the end of the live stream though that they showed. Was that?
I think
the
that was
dog?
I think that was the actual dog.
Daisy
the dog.
Daisy the beagle.
Snoozing alive and well.
Yes. And you get introduced to Dog 2 at the end as well.
Yes.
So again, the story follows the unfortunate happenings that happened to Mr. Wick that ultimately result him in re-entering his assassin's life. It appears that he was the best assassin that ever was.
He was the guy who you'd call to kill the boogeyman if the boogeyman existed.
Well, no, he was the boogeyman.
No,
he said he's the guy you call to kill the boogeyman.
Oh, really? I thought he was the boogeyman.
I think they also called him that, but
they called him Baba Yaga.
Yeah, they called
Isn't
him
Baba Yaga,
which didn't make
boogeyman?
sense because Baba Yaga is a
woman,
a witch
right,
from Russian folklore. So
isn't Baba Yaga a witch who lives in a house that has chicken legs?
Yes.
So if you're a fan of Russian folklore,
you know
Baba Yaga is. There's a slight discrepancy there.
Or if you read Mike Mignola's comics, I think that's where I found out.
She has appeared in Hellboy.
Yes.
Hellboy comics.
Yes, that's the only reason why I knew who Baba Yaga was. It wasn't because... Although, I remember getting a book from my local library as a kid about Russian folklore, and I remember liking it a lot and writing the name down and wanting to get a copy, and then I think I lost the piece of paper that I wrote it on. Yeah. Folklores are interesting stories. Again, a story that's told well is great, right? And what did you guys think of the movie?
I thought it was great.
What did you think was so great about it?
What did you like about it, Olive?
The fighting.
The fighting? Like he was taking people down and just headshotting them left and right?
Yeah, that was my favorite part too.
Yeah. The action sequences in this movie are absolutely well done. Yeah. I think a lot of the fight choreography, I don't remember off the top of my head who's responsible for it. But
spoiler, it's sad that the puppy died, basically.
Again, the puppy didn't really die.
No, like in the movie.
In the movie, yes. That was a puppet that they have subbed for the real doggy. But, yeah. I mean, you had to have that moment because you needed something to justify why this man was going to go back and do the things that he ultimately does. Because what he does isn't a good thing. I mean, he's killing people. He's just annihilating people left and right. And Yosef's character, played by
Bastard.
fantastically portrayed by Alfie Allen, says it was just an effing dog.
Yeah,
He doesn't even get to
his
finish
last
his-
words.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Oh, sorry, spoilers.
He didn't even get to finish his sentence.
Yeah.
So I think you have to sort of have that impactful moment to justify. And then there's that scene where Vigo catches, I guess Vigo's men catch John, and he's tied up in that warehouse, and he's also making this argument like, we could have handled this like civilized people, whatever. And John basically said, I had nothing, and that dog represented hope to me. It was the last thing that my wife had given me. Because
It was
she was
a chance for him to mourn on alone,
right
and that was taken from him.
And
so it was more than just a dog.
It represented something
It
more
represented
greater.
Sentimental.
a way for him to move on, to basically live through the sadness of his wife's passing and mourn completely, and not be alone in it. Because let's be honest, he really doesn't have any friends. I mean, William Dafoe, I guess, is sort of his friend.
Right. John
But-
Leguizamo,
but
sort of his friend.
Yeah, all these people respect him, but he's not having a barbecue with these guys.
Right,
you
right.
know?
Yeah. And I think they all even have like a healthy fear of him. I feel like John Leguizamo's
they're-
character Aurelia had a fear of him.
Terrified of him.
Even Charlie, the cleanup guy.
Yeah, they're all sort of happy to see him back, but
Right.
you could see that
You don't want to mess with this
he
guy.
doesn't have like a personal friendly relationship with any of them. I mean,
Right.
Even the cleanup that Charlie is.
Yeah, it was Charlie.
Even Charlie, he tries to engage him at the end, like,
Yeah.
we'll be seeing you again, and he just says good night, Charlie.
Right.
You know,
So,
he doesn't. You know.
yeah, this is a man who's learned that the more closed off he is, the better.
Yeah.
Less hurt he gets.
He
Probably.
He's going back into this world, but he doesn't really want to stay there.
Yes, absolutely. I would say he begrudgingly goes back into this. What did you think?
I love this movie.
I
remember
love
when
this movie.
I remember when it first came out, and like not many. It didn't seem like a lot of people had faith in it,
Yeah.
but we didn't see it in the theater, did we?
I don't think so. I think we saw it on cable.
We saw it on cable.
But it was phenomenal.
But like
Phenomenal.
I would have seen it in the theater, but at that point we had already had children, and
Right. It was 2014.
date nights were rare.
Very, very rare.
And but it was great, and great job by Keanu Reeves, you see that he is really good, and I've mentioned this to you before. He is good at playing weary.
Yes. He is the definition of bone
Yeah.
weary.
And it was like he first really showed that aspect of him and his
Demeanor.
skill at playing that sort of like weary character in another underrated film, Constantine.
Yes. Which we should review because I'm still surly that movie didn't do better. And I hate all the fanboys that didn't allow it to do better.
She doesn't have blonde
Hair.
Stupid nerds.
You know what the problem? They should have just given the film a different name. If they didn't call the film Constantine, I don't think
would have been fine, I'm
anybody
sure.
would have. It
Yeah.
would have just been a supernatural detective thriller noir movie, and everybody would have been like, "Wow,
Yeah.
he did a great job playing that character,"
Yeah.
which he did. I mean, it may not have been John Constantine from the comics, but
I think it
who
worked.
cares? It was a good movie.
It was a good movie. It was a good
Shut up.
story, and I think it worked. Black hair, black suit, and all. I think it all worked. But anyway, getting back to John Wick.
He's good at weary.
He is
And
absolutely
John
good.
Wick is a weary man who doesn't. He just wants to live his life by himself now, and he gets dragged back into this crazy world, and like the world is interesting.
Yes,
This
the
whole-
Continental, the whole.
This whole society that's
And the
secretly
rules,
is
yeah.
underneath the surface with the gold coins and.
Yes, and just the whole, like, how they sort of abide by these rules. These are people I mean, you think, I guess, of assassins as people without honor, but they sort of are. They live by a certain
Most
code.
of them are. Perkins was not one of them.
Perkins was not one of them. Brilliantly portrayed by Adrian Palicki.
I always mangle her last name.
Also Tara on Friday Night Lights. Yes. She's fantastic.
I think it's Palicki.
Whatever her last name is. Yeah, she's... Apologies to the actress.
To Perkins, because...
she
was great in it, too.
Yes. There was a collective cheer when she got hers.
Spoilers!
Oh, spoilers.
Oh my God, we're ruining this film from... How long ago is it?
2014.
2014, 6-year-old film.
Well, if you haven't seen it by now, I mean...
I think the spoilers have spoiled, so...
Yes, exactly. Gee, what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was great. My favorite part was John Wick killing everyone.
Yes. Again, fantastic. And as we discussed as we watched the movie, probably good money to be made, but please, please, please don't go into that line of work.
Yeah. I already told you there won't be a flyer like on the side of a building.
No sign-ups.
No sign-ups.
Assassin's School.
Sign-ups for school, yeah.
School of Assassins.
Learn to kill.
I'm sure it's a valuable skill set to have, but...
All right, come on. Wrap it up.
What else?
What did Olivia think of the movie?
She
also
liked it.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I think Olivia's tired and she's laid down on the floor and wrapped herself in a blanket.
Yes. So we should probably wrap this up. So on a scale of 1 to 10, G?
7.50.
7.50.
I really like this movie. I'd give it like 8 or 8.5.
I was gonna say 8.5. I think it's really, really well done. I think action is something that can be hit or miss, depending. But I think all the components in this film really came together.
This was phenomenal action.
Yeah,
I think if I remember right, they said like the guy who directed it was like a former stuntman or something.
Oh, really? You know what? I could see it because the aesthetics of it and just the fight choreography in it is really, really well done. I think we've mentioned this before. Having the ability to see the action, to see what's going on, is so important.
So nicely, like everything was clear. It wasn't like jumbled and crazy, and there wasn't like bizarre, computer generated camera work. Or even like there were like the blood effects were most of them were computer generated
and somewhat exaggerated, but still.
But like the actual hand-to-hand combat, the acrobatics involved in that for obviously in films to make that look spectacular, that was just top notch, and it was all just guys doing some serious choreography. Like they were working really well with each other and make everything look brutal.
Yes.
Just the hits, the way people were getting flipped around, thrown through tables and windows, and
absolutely
great job.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I would give it 8.5. I think just all the components, the way the shots are framed, the hues, the dark hues, the almost like bluish tints to some of the shots, the backdrop of New York. I'm always pleased to see our home state represented in movies because it's almost like New York is such a magical place. It's almost like its own character in a sense in some of these movies. Not really played up here, but you see aspects of the skyline and the bridges, and they refer to where Viggo's son was, like I guess in some warehouse in Brooklyn or Queens or whatever. So New York definitely plays a part in that, and seeing those shots of New York is always fun and always welcome because New York is such a beautiful place.
Really? New York?
New York, absolutely.
New York City.
Yeah, you were born in New York. Don't act like you don't.
New York City.
Yeah, you were born in New York.
Your most 90% of your experience now in New York is getting off at Port Authority, so I understand your disbelief because Port Authority is gross, and the subway system, which is also gross.
That's an understatement. That's an understatement.
But the parks, most of the outside of the city. the architecture, a lot of it's beautiful.
Yes, and plus we grew up
We grew up here. It's special.
Yeah,
to
so
us.
it's special to us, and we remember old Brooklyn and stuff. But the costumes, just everything gelled really, really nicely in this movie. It hit at, I feel like, just the right time. I mean, again, you can go either way on an action film. Some action movies just don't hit it, and this one just knocked it out of the park. I mean, I don't know if I'm trying to remember what other movies were playing at that time, but maybe it was, we had a shortage of action films, but this one, it just dropped at the right place and at the right time. Everyone that I ever spoke to about this movie said nothing but great things about it.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it was sort of refreshing because action movies were coming out, but they were, let's have this guy run through an explosion like 50
Great
times.
fire.
I remember we saw a trailer for some film with John Cena in it, and he literally in the trailer ran through 3 explosions, like
Three fiery
explosions. Like he was in the flames, jumping out of the flames, diving into water or diving through walls, and it was just like, come on,
This doesn't happen.
even if it did happen, save that for the climax. For the trailer to have 3 incidents of it, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I think nowadays it's funny. When we grew up, we sort of had this conversation once about how growing up, Schwarzenegger was like the big action star. I mean, it was almost like an event going to a Schwarzenegger movie, whether it was Running Man or Terminator or True Lies,
Total Recall.
I mean, he's part of some huge movies from the 80s and 90s as far as that, right? So, and I think for a time there, it felt like Will Smith was the guy. Sometimes it feels like Tom Cruise because of those MI movies. But I mean, I feel like now there isn't like a go-to action guy because it could be anybody, really, right?
Yeah, there's no king of
action like there used to be, right? So I think it's nice because I think no one really thought of Keanu Reeves as that guy. I mean, prior to this, I mean, he'd done like movies.
He's done action.
He's done action movies like The Man from Tai Chi and all this other stuff. But some 47 Ronin,
The Matrix.
Right. So he's done these movies, but he's never been that guy that you associate. And I think that's the other beauty about John Wick. John Wick really kind of opened up, not that he didn't have a career, obviously, because Keanu Reeves has been around for a very, very long time, but I think having this character in his arsenal opened up a different avenue for him, and I think other people have now seen him like, oh, he can be that guy.
Yeah, he created a brand new franchise.
He's in his 50s.
Keanu Reeves, yeah, he's old. He's older than your mom and dad.
Yeah.
I remember I was in junior high school or high school when Bill and Ted came out.
Yeah. A movie that we always want to watch with you guys, but you guys act like it's the most boring thing you've ever seen.
I'll watch it.
Begrudgingly.
No,
I think the
will.
first movie I saw with him was River's Edge with my favorite, Crispin Glover. Another crazy actor from way back in the day. But yeah, I think, and it's funny because he's got an interesting film career, I would say. He's definitely done everything. I mean, he's been romantic. He's been the action guy.
Yeah.
Even Speed. How could I forget Speed, right?
Or your favorite,
Point Break. How did I forget that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Johnny Utah. I think, I think in a way this movie put him in like a different stratosphere. Again,
that is fair.
I think so.
Atmosphere.
Well, I mean, he always had a name. You knew it, but this to start a new franchise is a major accomplishment in this day and age. Because it's like the big complaint you always hear is, there's no new ideas. There's plenty of new ideas. It's just a lot of times people don't give them a chance.
Right.
And in a thing like this, which was nice, is that it was small.
Right. Nobody expected
it. But when they saw it, they were just like, wow. Damn.
That was
Go
good.
see this movie.
Yes.
And a lot of people took that advice and they were like, you know what? That was damn good.
Yeah. And it's always nice to see a nice guy succeed, because everything that you read about him, he's giving money to the families of like the stunt people on movies, and he's very philanthropic. Just a nice guy. I mean, I've never heard anyone say anything negative about this guy in all the years that he's been an actor. And just, you hear him in interviews, he's very unassuming, very humble. There's stories about him taking mass transit, just being a regular guy. So when you see somebody good be successful or have that come to them, that's also very gratifying. And I love that he doesn't take it so seriously, because, you know, after this he turned around and he did the voice of Keanu the cat in the Key and Peele movie, right?
It wasn't that film called Keanu?
Keanu, yeah. Which I think is brilliant. That's so amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely got a sense of humor.
He does. Yeah. He does. And eventually, I guess next year, him and Alex Winter will be reprising Bill and Ted.
Yeah, Bill and Ted Face the Music.
There you go.
The film that's been coming for
decades in the making. I think the last one came out in like the 90s, right?
Yeah, well, let's not talk about it.
Well, yeah, the second one wasn't good. All right, so we should probably wrap this up. It is almost midnight. But that was fun. If you haven't seen it, please, please, please do yourself a favor and check out John Wick. Amazing movie. Rated R, probably not for small kids.
Yeah.
Tons of graphic kids.
Yeah, tons of graphic violence, lots of cursing. Yeah, not really.
Your kids will learn how to curse in Russian.
So if you're looking for that international flavor, you could do that. But if you don't, then don't. But if you, as an adult, want to have date night with your significant other, I highly recommend this movie.
And the other two.
And the other two.
Yes, part 2 and part 3. Or chapter 2 and chapter 3.
Exactly. And Lionsgate is currently, if you go on the Lionsgate Live website, part of the proceeds you can donate. They're working with the Will Rogers Foundation to help furloughed theater employees, because obviously all the movie theaters are shut down right now because of the health crisis.
Current pandemic.
So if you can, please donate and help out those people that unfortunately are falling on hard times. So all of the proceeds that they've accumulated, I think they mentioned $200,000, which is great. If you can give, please do. If you want to see a great movie, please check out John Wick. That's it from us. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.